Today we're breaking down 5 ways to raise your boxing IQ. Not just theory, real, actionable techniques used by the best fighters in the world. Welcome back to the Fight Archive. 1. Learn to read your opponent. Let's start with the most underrated skill in all of boxing, the ability to see what's coming before it happens. Elite fighters don't just react, they anticipate. And there's a massive difference between those two things. Every fighter, and I mean every single one, has tells. Small, almost invisible habits that give away what they're about to do. A subtle shift in the shoulder, a change in foot position, a dip of the chin before they throw the right hand. Most people never notice these things because they're focused on the wrong details. They're watching the gloves, waiting for something to happen. But by the time you see the glove moving, it's already too late. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the perfect example of this. People called him defensive. They called him boring. But what he was actually doing, round after round, was reading. He was processing information, identifying patterns, and positioning himself so that by the time his opponent committed to a shot, Floyd was already gone. So how do you build this skill? Start with film study. Pull up footage of your sparring partners or even professional fights, and pause the video just before a punch lands. Ask yourself, what told you that was coming? Was it the shoulder, the elbow, the stance? Rewind and watch it again in slow motion. Then take it into the gym. When you're sparring, force yourself to focus on your opponent's shoulders, not their hands. The shoulder initiates almost every punch. If you can read the shoulder, you'll be ahead of the shot before it's even thrown. This takes time, but once it clicks, it changes everything. 2. Master the feint. If reading your opponent is about gathering information, feinting is about controlling the information they receive. A feint is a fake movement, a deceptive action designed to trigger a reaction in your opponent, and when done correctly, it's one of the most powerful weapons in boxing. Here's why it works. The human nervous system is built to respond to threats. When your opponent sees movement, even movement that isn't real, their body reacts before their brain can process it. They flinch, they cover up, they shift their weight. And in that split second, they've opened a door. Without feints, you're essentially asking your opponent to make an error. With feints, you're forcing the error. The key is commitment. A half-hearted feint gets no reaction. You have to sell it, make it look real, make it feel real, and then punish the response. 3. Footwork is everything. People talk about footwork like it's a nice extra, like it's something you work on after you've got the basics down. It's not. Footwork is the foundation. Everything else, your punching power, your defense, your combination work, it all depends on where your feet are. Here's the truth about ring control. The fighter who controls the distance controls the fight. If you dictate the range, whether you're making it close, keeping it long, moving in and out, your opponent is always reacting to you. And a fighter who's reacting is a fighter who's behind. Vasyl Lomachenko built one of the most technically impressive careers in modern boxing almost entirely on footwork. He didn't always have the biggest punch, but he had an extraordinary ability to be in exactly the right position at every moment, angles that made him nearly impossible to hit cleanly, and positions that made his own punches incredibly difficult to defend. Here's the drill that will change your movement immediately. Step in, punch, step out. That's it. Every time you throw a combination, you commit to a movement, either off to the side, backward, or at an angle. The moment your last punch lands, you never plant your feet and wait after a combination. Never. This does 2 things. It makes you significantly harder to counter, because you're not standing in front of your opponent after you attack. And it builds the habit of movement as a reflex, not a decision. Train this until it's automatic. Step in, punch, step out. Over and over. Shadow boxing, bag work, sparring, every single session. 4. Think in patterns. Boxing is often described as chess, and just like chess, the game is really about recognizing patterns and exploiting them before your opponent can adjust. Most fighters have a go-to combination, a preferred escape route when they're backed against the ropes, a default reaction when they're hit to the body. They might not even know they're doing it, but they are, every single round. Your job is to identify those patterns as fast as possible and then use them against your opponent. Spend the first round or two gathering information. Don't try to win the round. Try to learn. What does he do after he jabs? Does he step back? Does he follow with the right hand every single time? When he gets hit to the body, does he clinch? Does he shell up and leave his chin exposed? Once you see a pattern twice, assume it's a habit. Here's a practical example. You notice your opponent ducks every time you throw a jab. He's not slipping, he's dropping straight down out of habit. That tells you exactly what to do. Jab to set up the uppercut. The jab isn't even meant to land anymore. It's bait. You're using his own reflex against him. This is what separates fighters who think from fighters who simply exchange punches. The thinker is always 3 moves ahead. 5. Timing beats speed. You do not need to be the fastest fighter in the room to land the hardest shots. Timing beats speed, almost every time. Think about counterpunchers, fighters who are known for making their opponents look slow, even when those opponents are physically fast. They're not moving faster than the attack. They're moving at exactly the right moment, and that precision creates something remarkable. A counter thrown at the right time feels twice as hard as a punch thrown with twice the power. Canelo Alvarez is the modern master of this. Watch him work in the mid-range and you'll see it constantly. He waits, he reads the shot, and he counters at the exact moment his opponent is most committed and most vulnerable.
Straight right hand from Canelo to the body as well. 68-66 Canelo.
The punch is already landing before the opponent can even begin to pull back. Here's how to train it. First, learn to be comfortable letting your opponent attack first. This feels unnatural. Every instinct tells you to punch, to be aggressive, to take control. But counterpunching requires patience. You have to let the threat develop before you can exploit it. Start in sparring with this simple rule. Your partner throws, you counter, then reset. Over and over. You're not trying to outwork them. You're trying to find the pocket, that brief window right in the middle of their movement, where a counter lands with maximum impact and minimum risk. The goal is to make your opponent feel like they're walking into every punch, because that's exactly what's happening. 5 skills, 5 concepts, but they're not separate. They build on each other. You read your opponent to understand their patterns. You use feints to expose those patterns. Your footwork puts you in position to exploit them. You think ahead to create the setup, and your timing turns every opening into something significant. This is what boxing IQ looks like in practice. It's not one thing. It's the combination of all of it, working together, round after round. The fighters who invest in this side of their game, the mental side, are the ones who are still competing at a high level when everyone else has slowed down. Because the body ages, but the mind only gets sharper. If you think these techniques can improve your boxing, drop a comment below, leave a like, and subscribe. And like always, stay dangerous.